Howdy ho there, YouTube. Jordy checking in. Homemade lemonade. Very delicious. So today, I went to a coffee shop. Whoa. What a time. Really demonstrated the point I made in my last video on transactions. Had a nice conversation with the manager. We both figured out we were from Sugarland. Well, she was actually from Stafford, and I'm from Sugarland, which they're very close. The dichotomy that exists between Sugarland and Stafford is very polarized. It's quite interesting. Sugarland is super hardcore rich people, and even in Sugarland, there's a dichotomy that exists. There's like the rich people, and then there's like the wealthy but still definitely slaves. And then you go over to Stafford, then it's like, oh, that's like where like those hardcore slaves live. Like when I say slaves, I mean modern day slaves, of course, slaves to Satan's system of control. Ironically enough, in Stafford is where all of the churches are. Like a lot of churches, including the church that I grew up going to, Kingdom Hall of Jehovah's Witnesses. Yeah. Anyway, the little digressing, the little barista and me ended up talking after the manager left. But what we talked about Christ's kingdom and, you know, kind of a little bit of the theology of what we believe, and kind of, you know, we're chopping it up, you know. It's like she represents a whole young 18-year-old generation. She's going to school to study, I guess, Christ and some sort of seminary school, I think. Anyway, I asked her what she thought about how like business interacted with serving God. And, you know, I kind of related a lot of my points of view as far as you cannot slave for two masters, pay Caesar's things to Caesar. And then eventually we got around to, you know, Jesus flipping the tables of the money changers inside of the temple. And we talked about the temple of God now being the body rather than a physical temple. Anyway, we chopped it up, and then I was going to get a coffee, and then this dude interrupted us, and he, whatever, did his thing. Anyway, I went and sat back down, and this other little girl came in, and we didn't really talk too much, but then she was like, oh, I have your coffee ready. And so I go over to the counter, and I continue to like pick up where we left off, but clearly this guy had interjected some sort of bullshit because he was clearly feeling a little pinned at the moment. And, you know, that's what people do is when they feel like, oh shit, that oh shit feeling. Let's just stop there for a moment. What does the Bible say? And there the weeping and the gnashing of their teeth will be. Ultimately, what that prophesies is the oh shit feeling that people will feel once God's love fully reconsolidates with Christ's followers and Christ himself. So whenever Christ becomes elected as king, he will have all of the love that the banks have been stealing and utilizing for Satan's realities. That's what happens is whenever Christ will be elected king and he has all the love and all of the power, it will crush the wicked along with Satan. And so that's what it means whenever it says, and there the weeping and the gnashing of their teeth will be. So if you've ever gotten that oh shit feeling, there's reason for that. So ultimately, in order for Christ to become elected and for all of the power to be reconsolidated with him rather than with Satan and Satan's followers, there has to be a certain amount of empirical evidence that is built out within the human consciousness throughout the power reaccumulation. So, for instance, whenever this transaction went through, which I warned them, I said, hey, this is going to be shitty, probably for everybody. And sure enough, it was. But this little girl that was not there for the majority of the conversations, she took the payment. And of course, the banks dumped all of their garbage inside of her. And so I sat there for another, 10 minutes or so. And she ended up like sexually attuning herself to me. She fucked me because the bank had fucked her. And so she had to dump off the other end of her stick somewhere. And so whenever she did that, I just kept sitting there and I took it. No big deal for me. I'm used to getting fucked all the time. It's pretty par for the course for me, as it is for, I'm sure, a lot of people. And so whenever there came time, the energy was like, told her to like give her heart back to my masculine side, because energy is like very, very super hardcore at the moment, and people, what they want is complete circuitry. They don't want this half-assed bullshit running around. And whenever she did, it was the oh shit sunk in. And when the oh shit sunk in, they called the friggin' police and they had me criminally trespassed. And then when the cops got there, they were just like, oh God. So I shook my ironic jar of change, which I brought in. I like to do this sometimes. I'll bring in a big giant jar of change in this like plastic hair gel can. So whenever I do transactions, sometimes I'll pay with quarters and dimes and nickels and pennies. So I call it my ironic jar of change whenever I want to make a hardcore transaction, when I know times are tense. Anyway, so I shook my jar of change, and the cops were just like, ooh. And I was like, oh, don't worry, gentlemen, it's just my ironic proverbial jar of change. And I cleared my throat as they escorted me out, and, eyes were just like, oh, God. Anyway, so we sat outside on the bench, and I instructed these officers about the truth about Christ's kingdom and the truth about how the banking system bioelectrically hacks people's spirits and women's hearts to ultimately can keep the status quo and to more or less rape their understanding of life and the understanding about what's possible with the human spirit if we don't utilize our bodies for transactions instead of glorifying God with our bodies. Anyway, so I sat there and informed the officers for maybe 5 or 10 minutes as they sat there and wrote me my criminal trespass warning. So that's what I dealt with today. But I was able to viscerally demonstrate just exactly how the banks rape women, because that's what I demonstrated. Because that little girl, she got raped, and she tried to pass it off on me like it was no big deal, and like, oh, it's okay. But whenever it came time to get this positive electrode back into her heart, she couldn't handle it. It was too much. Because at that moment, the feminine knew that they had been raped, and they had been passing that rape off to other people. That's why she called the police. Because she knew that she wasn't going to be able to elaborate this any better than me. So she knew that she had to get masculine men to come and carry the truth with them. Because guess what? Once women are raped, they're under the thumbprint of whoever rapes them, and their consciousness can't express things in a logical capacity. I just look at my sister, for instance. That chick can't articulate herself in a godly way for love nor money. I mean, my God, the amount of dog shit that woman is under, it's unbelievable. Holy shit. The amount of crazy shit that comes out of that chick's mouth is phenomenal. I mean, really unbelievable. I can always decipher what she's telling me because she's my sister and I love her dearly. And I know what she's telling me. It's like almost like we have like a secret language. But to the outside world, she sounds like a fucking crazy person. Anyway, my sister is buried under all of these money assholes. God, I feel so bad for her because, like, I can survive under all this shit because I'm a dude. And, like, dudes, we're different than chicks. We're just different. Especially with me, I got my dog, and we love each other so desperately hardcore that we can make it through anything. And, like, we're always there for one another. My sister, she doesn't have anybody to, like, look after her all the time. And so she's just this single chick running around like a chicken with her head cut off. Anyway, I love her so much, but my God, that is the proof in the pudding is whenever a woman has been had something put onto her heart, aka the banks and the finance people and just all of the dog shit humans that continue to fight for Satan's status quo rather than fight for God's kingdom. All of their garbage just is dumped onto her heart. And so it's like, my God, it's so not fair. And so women, for the love of God, you cannot slave for money and for God. This doesn't just apply to men. You know, whenever I used to own my smoke shop, I quickly came to the realization, I was like, I can't sit here and take all these tech bros' money because they're just passing off all this dog shit onto my heart. Well, it's like, man, I just have to unwind all this garbage that they told me after every day. It was horrendous. Anyway, I just felt like I had to dump this off onto YouTube to the internet world because nobody wants to like actually hear it. So I might as well document it and put it on the internet world. At some point, somebody will see it and be like, "Oh yeah, okay, that makes sense." Anyway, banks still suck. Finances still suck. Every time I receive or send money, it's digital fucking rape, for lack of a better term. Also, I apologize for the dirty language, but yeah, it's when in Rome, Jesus Christ. Raper's gonna keep raping. It's gonna be my tagline. Scumbag banks. I look forward to the day when Christ is fully manifest. My God, it's gonna be something sweet. Let me just tell you. Once all this love is recollected by the people, and then Christ is formed fully, man, the experience that we will all feel, it's like, man, it's going to be like everybody in the world is singing like a creed, like creed songs, like with arms wide open. It's gonna be like a giant Creed concert for the entire world, but with Christ like at the helm of it all, and all the angels around him, with God Himself, Yahweh behind him, and it's gonna just be like, it's gonna be super cool. That's what we're working for, but it's like people don't understand what that actually means and what that's gonna feel like. That's what's crazy about it. It's like I've experienced this small scale, so I have this mental vivid image of what that's gonna be like. And man, ask any sort of police officer, and they'll tell you the same thing. They've felt what it's like to have all of God's love just blasting down. Like, it's freaking cool, dude. But the beautiful part about Christ's kingdom, like Christ's actual kingdom, like the spiritual government that will take over our stupid earthly governments, this kingdom is like the perfect utilization of God's love. It doesn't dominate anybody in an unrighteous way. Everybody's like happy and in like the most incredible loving state you could possibly imagine. There's no pain. It's literally humans being brought back to perfection. Like, that's what we're gonna experience. But we gotta go through this incredible, ridiculous pain period of taking our love back from our oppressive assholes. This is the stuff that I would have loved to actually have a conversation with them about, but they just lose their shit because they have that oh shit feeling. It's coming. It's coming. Trust me, it's coming. Be on the right side of the sword. It's all I can tell you. Love your neighbor as yourself. Practice love, the real-time equation for the real-time problem. The kingdom of God is within every single human heart across this planet. Don't you forget it.